Welcome back to my room. Today I have the window open and it's not like the middle of the night. I can't remember my last video. Actually, I think I did record during the day. But let's start this video by reading a page from my gratitude book because it's always nice. You know the drill. Tell me when to stop. Trigger warning God, just to let you know. It says, God, thank you for the ability and desire to love. Love is a cherished gift from you. I think that is beautiful. You know, I've been reading this other book. It's called A Journey. Let me get it actually. It's called A Course in Miracles, Mastering the Journey from Fear to Love by Alan Cohen. And it's basically this book that is like an explanation of another book called A Course in Miracles, which is basically like a book that is supposed to help you with like your mental health and like some spiritual healing vibes, I guess. And I came across this book because I had a friend who I had brought him to the Amtrak station to, well, drop him off, and he was moving back home, and he had too much stuff in his suitcase and had to leave some of his stuff with me, and one of them was this book. And so I just like picked it up because I thought, you know, it was an interesting title. I'm like, Mastering the Journey from Fear to Love. I'm like, that sounds like, who doesn't want to do that, you know? Well, some people maybe don't, but it's a journey that I feel like I'm definitely on right now, and probably will be like my whole life, because that's just life, I guess. But it's been an interesting read so far. It's basically, it's very like Christian centered, which has been interesting for me since I'm not Christian. My name's Nathan. I'm just kidding. But it's an interesting read, and like the author addresses the fact that like you don't have to be Christian to read this book, and basically like take what resonates with you. It's up to your interpretation, and like, yeah, basically just take what you want from it, which I appreciated because I definitely have been, and it's been challenging my, I guess, biases and like my ability to just look at something in a non-judgmental way, which I think, you know, everyone can benefit from that, you know, like, why not? And so it's a lot of interesting stuff, and like I have a few post-it notes written down, like actually something that I mentioned last video about how people choose to live in heaven or hell, and one of the things I wrote down in this post-it note was a quote that says, "Heaven has been here all the time, we just weren't seeing it," which, like I mentioned in the last video, I feel is very true. Another one is atonement, undoing the world of fear for the return of love. And that actually is a very interesting like thing that I just read, because I was having this conversation with, hold up, I'm gonna put my retainer in, don't look. I was having this conversation with my friend Sarah actually yesterday because we were talking about um, well, she was working in like a preschool and was basically like telling me like how she just noticed that like kids are full of love and like they are just brought into this world without like bias towards other people, I guess, and like are I mean, kids can obviously be judgmental, but like not in the same way that like you are judgmental as you grow up, I guess, because you're taught a lot of things like racism and sexism and homophobia and like to disagree with people of other faiths and ways of viewing the world. And I have just been thinking a lot about like, I don't know, I guess you could say radical acceptance, but also like radical like non-judgmentalism, which I guess you could also say is radical acceptance. But basically, like, I don't know. What I'm getting at is how people will be so angry with another person for sharing their beliefs, which I can understand why. And some people's beliefs are very different from the ones that we hold ourselves, which can be really hard to, like, I don't know, have a conversation. But I think it's important to have a conversation with somebody who shares a different belief than you and to try to challenge yourself to do it non-judgmentally. Obviously, there's different contexts in which I mean by this because, like, you could be having a conversation with somebody that is, like, homophobic and you're gay. And, like, I don't know, what kind of conversation is going to come out of that? And I guess it also, like, is important for both sides to actually be wanting to have like a conversation. And like I think a lot of people do feel fear when they're having those type of conversations and like they get offended or like they feel like personally attacked, which I'm not going to say that that's not what's happening. And like this is a nuanced topic I'm talking about, like always. And this is just my opinion, so you don't have to listen to what I'm saying. But I guess like you can have a conversation and not take it personally, for lack of a better term. And not saying I'm like even like perfect or good at this, but like I just I try to listen to people and like because I think at the end of the day, not listening to people and making people feel like you don't give a fuck about them is like just going to create a scarier world for everyone to live in. I mean, I think that is like what drives politics in this country is like division. Like, why do we have like only like a two-party system? Because it's beneficial and it's profitable. Because if you align yourself with one group, then you're against the other. And like division is a powerful thing to keep things from even getting done because if you align with one side then you kind of lose the like personal opinion that you have because you're like, Democrats are supposed to believe this one thing, Republicans are supposed to believe this other thing, and it's like, in reality, or I won't say that. The way that I see it, they're both evil, they're both fucked up, and like, they are both obviously just like in it for the money, whatever, blah blah blah, nothing new. Like, I'm not the first person to say this, whatever. But it's very true, and like, I was just like, would appreciate things to not be so like that. And like, I do not like the argument that like you shouldn't vote for who you want to vote for, like you shouldn't vote third party. Like, people say like, if you vote third party, it's a vote for the other side or whatever, which is like blah blah blah. I'm bored of this. That's how nothing gets done, that's how nothing changes, and that's how you keep things like the same forever, which is like literally the point. And I've just been thinking a lot, is like, how much do we really live differently than like 100 years ago? Obviously things have changed, duh, and like, we live in a different world now, but a lot of the systems are still the same, a lot of societal things are still the same, which makes sense because 100 years is not really that long of a time. And like, we still like, I don't know, I don't want to say that everything in life is oppressive and like bad things happen all the time and like there's nothing good about the world, because like that just like sucks, and like, who wants to live like that? Not me, sorry. That's just my personal opinion, because I think good things do happen, and I think good things will continue to happen, and like, you get to pick and choose the stuff that you want to put your attention on in this world. Not saying that bad things don't matter, but at some point you just gotta like fucking laugh, have a smile, like, be happy at least once a day, even if like things are like shit. Like, I understand feeling like things are shit and like there's no escape from the situation that you're in. It's like, you think like, how the fuck am I gonna get through this, and like blah blah blah. But you know what? There's still stuff to be grateful for. You know, there's still love in the world, because if there's love inside of you, you are not without love, and you can give that love to other people. And it's just not all like doom and gloom all the time. Thank the Lord that it's not. But anyways, I want to read another post-it note from this book. Let's see. I have like one more or two more, I think, in here. Let's see. Just one more. And I put it at the beginning of the book. I don't know why. I don't remember why. But it says, I do not believe truths exist, only perception. Which is something, again, I talked about in my last video. And I believe it to be very true. I believe my perception of it to be true. Because, I don't know. I guess because I think that you can really get caught up in trying to always search for the truth. I have seen that in people my age, for sure, in all types of generations. Like, there's this like unending desire in some people to search for the truth and for knowledge, and I think knowledge is power, and like being educated is really important. But like, you are a limited person that can only do so much, I guess. And okay, I'm maybe not coming across how I want to, because I'm not saying that you should not educate yourself and that you shouldn't learn, because I think you should. And that's something that a lot of people really don't have the desire to do, which makes me sad. But as with everything, there's a balance in life. And I just be seeing people like thinking that they are like better than other people because they know what the truth is, and like they think that they're better than people because like they believe that, you know, they have some level of knowledge that other people just don't have, and everyone else is a like sheep and like whatever, all of this stuff, which is just like not true. It's like, well, I can't say what's true and what's not true, because that's like the whole point of what I'm trying to say. But I forgot to take my Adderall, so I'm kind of all over the place right now. And I'm like finding it hard to form my thoughts. I'm actually going to take my Adderall right now. And that's just my truth. My truth is that Adderall helps me in life. And for some people, that's not their truth. And at the end of the day, you really just got to do what is going to lead you towards living a happy and healthy life. If that's what you want, it's really your choice. Like, you know, we have the choice when, I mean, they say you can do whatever you want when you're an adult, which is true. But I don't know. Then that leaves you with the question, like, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to, like, are you going to improve your situation? Are you going to improve life? Are you going to improve your, like, perception of the world? Are you going to stay the same? And I get it. Some people just literally do not want to change. And I have observed that, like, it just makes you unhappy trying to change other people that don't want to change. And I feel like you can help people for sure, but it's their choice if they want to put in the work to be different, you know. And it can be hard when, like, you feel like you have these relationships where you feel like people want to change, or you feel like you want to change but other people don't. And like it can create some resentment, and that's like some stuff that's hard to work through. I was talking about this with my friend the other day, and it's something I related to, about just like being frustrated with your family because there's certain things that people do that you just really do not like, and like they really annoy you, and you wish you could like tell them to stop, or like show them that it just creates like a bad state of being, I guess. And you just can't do that though. Like, I mean, obviously you can try, but you cannot, if you want to be happy, you at some point have to realize that like you've done what you can and that's all that you can do. And you have to find peace in that because if you keep trying to fix people, it's going to kill you. Like it's going to put stress on your body, which is not good for you. It's going to put stress on your mind and it's going to stop you from advancing yourself through life and accomplishing your goals and accomplishing what you want to do. And like it's important to, you know, just take care of yourself, I guess is what I'm getting at. And like I don't know, I feel like if you focus so much on the things that you don't like about other people, it like overshadows the things that you still love about those people and the good things. And just as a human living on planet Earth with other humans, like you kind of just have to like coexist with things that you don't like and coexist with things that really piss you off, especially qualities of other people. And that doesn't mean you can't love them, you know. I think um I just personally think of like SpongeBob when I think of this, if I'm being honest, because you know what, like his friend Patrick is like really getting himself into trouble all the time and is like does not really think before he does things. And like Mr. Krabs is like greedy as hell and like an exploitative boss. And like Squidward is like doom and gloom like 24/7 and is like saying mean things to SpongeBob. But you know what? At the end of the day, he still is unafraid to show people love, show all of those people love, and show people forgiveness. And like, it doesn't change who he is as a person. It does not change his, you know, loving, bright, lively, bubbly personality, because that's something that is from him and something that is a value of his and a goal of his. And like he doesn't, well, I won't say that he doesn't try to change the people around him, but like I think at some point, you know, he accepts those people for who they are and still chooses to love them, which is the brave thing. And I'll always say this is that, you know, continuing to love and continuing to be vulnerable and continuing to be yourself in despite of everything takes bravery. It takes so much bravery, and it takes, you know, a lot of guts to continue to be yourself when there's so much like perceived outside influence and pressure from your family, your friends, the people around you, your coworkers, whoever, your boss, like literally whoever. And I think, I guess, something that I've been trying to, I guess, set myself on the path of is like doing that, is like continuing to be myself and to, I guess, stick to my values and to keep going forward with my goals. And like I think if I do that, I will end up in a good place because I did not change for someone else to like me better or to have an easier life. Because I mean, hey, you can have an easy life by like always doing what other people want you to do. And I understand that, especially if you're like in a situation where like you're financially supported by your family and you're like in a relationship with somebody that you get like a lot of resources or benefits from. It's like you want to please them in order to keep gaining. But you know what? Sometimes life is better when it's harder because at least you can make the life that you want to live, I guess. And I feel like I keep saying a lot of like contradictory things and hypocritical things and making a lot of hypocritical points, but I think that's just a part of life and a part of being human is that you will be hypocritical, and it's because like two things can be true at once, right? There's a balance to everything, and you gotta find that balance for yourself, I guess. This video was all over the place, and I apologize for that, but I appreciate you listening if you made it this far, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay safe. I love you. Goodbye.